Hello, my fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy HBICs. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? I hope you're all doing fabulous. I hope you're all choosing to be the versions of self that have exactly what you want. And if you're not doing that, as I say, let me know in the comments below why. And the number one excuse cannot be, because it's an excuse or a belief, that you've been doing this manifestation stuff for such and such amount of time and nothing's changed. That is not a valid excuse. That is you heavily believing in a particular reality, in a particular version of yourself. Just saying. So if you're new to manifestation, how you doing? I'm Kimberly and I'm super sassy, but I am obsessed with creating reality, or being aware of reality, because creation's finished, and getting what I want. I love all aspects of it. And if you're just like me and can handle the sass, I would love for you to subscribe and come back and see me. If you would like to work with me in any way, shape, or form, all that information is in that drop box below, including all of my channel memberships. I mostly talk about my VIP Advanced Manifestors channel membership, because that is the one that gives you access to all three of my channel memberships. They are zhuzhes. All three are. They are zhuzhes. We talk success stories. We talk tips and tricks. We read the books. We deep dive. We expand our awareness. And we become Teflon to 3D reality. We stop being afraid of what's in front of us and realize we can change anything, anytime we want. And if that interests you, well, I encourage you to join. There should be a join button somewhere down there underneath this video. Okay, and I suggest you do that from a laptop and not from an Apple phone. Apple tends to add more money onto the channel memberships than what they're actually costing. And it's not a YouTube thing, it's an Apple thing. I've talked about it before, but I highly encourage you to join outside of an Apple device. Editing Kim here, just a heads up, especially if you're wearing headphones. There is a master project going on down the road from me. So the dump truck booms and bangs and trucks driving by and the reverse beeping noise, it's all happening for your entertainment purposes today. And I do apologize for it. Today, what are we going to talk about? We're going to be talking about time and being really rigid and resistant to things. So if you're one of those people that I was just talking about, and you feel like you've been on the journey a really long time and nothing is changing, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, it is because you are strongly focused on a certain reality, or you are viewing your reality from a specific viewpoint, a specific version of yourself. And you are absolutely entranced by that reality. You see, sometimes the thought of revision comes into play, where we want to revise past events, past circumstances. Maybe there's a particular circumstance that you've experienced that you think is a part of the reason why your manifestation hasn't shown yet. And we get really stuck on that mindset of, I really experienced this, Kim. I'm not crazy. This event happened. It was real. I believe you. But I also believe that all experiences, all events are real. All experiences, events, circumstances, versions of you, realities, universes, they all exist because creation was finished. But our concept of linear time can be like a thorn in our side in manifestation, in becoming aware of what we want to experience in life. And I did one of my sexy drawings for you all. Okay, I'm an artist. Not really. Well, I'm sure there's a version of me that is. But see this circle, pretend that's a lake. And this lake is a timeline. It's time. This is supposed to be a big old rock in the middle of this lake. That's the present moment that you're currently watching this video. These are the pretty ripples in my lake. These ripples, each one, is an event or an experience. And for the sake of this conversation, the past could be viewed over here, and maybe this is the future one. And if you see, they're all connected in a circle, not a straight horizontal line. We have been conditioned to believe that time is linear, continuity. I can never say that right. I understand. I was conditioned with the same concept of linear time. But my gosh, isn't physics into the place of telling us that it's not physics, right? Stuff in the 3D, physics from the 3D reality around you has shown us that linear time is not a thing. It's just something we use. I would call it a tool that we use to make sense of frames, picture frames, of experiences. But it ain't a straight line. If anything, for the sake of making this make sense or skimming it down, it's like a damn circle. Circle. Meaning, in this present moment, you have access to all. What you would call your past, what you would call your future. You have access to all of it right here and now. Now, for some of us, we've experienced maybe some, what I would say, traumatic experiences in your past. So taking on that new viewpoint that you can just decide that you didn't have that experience might seem, whoa, too much. And I understand. So take your time with that. Linear time. Take your time. Be easy on yourself. But you can free yourself from the so-called past. We have been conditioned to believe that the past experiences we had have or are the reason why we are who we are in this moment. And that's just not true. Experiences, beliefs are not. They are what we use to explain why we think the way we think, what we believe about the world. But we are infinite. We are source. And it is because we have such an overwhelming stance on what we believe. That's where that trance or hypnotic trance can suck us in to believe that whatever experiences are the reason why we believe certain circumstances in our life at this time. And if you would, for a moment, we'll do another pretty picture. If you would see yourself as the infinite you for a moment, this is you, infinite you. This is the reality you're in right now. If you would take a moment and maybe visually see yourself stepping out of it, you can picture yourself hanging out in the ether for a moment and think about the reality you so heavily believe in. Try to imagine the you that's having that reality experience as you being separate from it for just a moment. You can remove yourself from reality also at any given moment and essentially hover. We can call it the ether. We're hovering in the ether. We're hovering. We're disassociating with a particular reality or a particular version of yourself. If you would just take a moment and see yourself separate and take a look at what that version of you is so heavily believing about his or her past and the possible future, or what the present is, what you would describe, or what that version of you would describe as your present. Think about how strongly you believe that that is real, or that is the reality you're stuck in. Think about it. When you take the time to quiet your mind and disassociate from technology or detach and just put the focus on self, on consciousness, separate yourself from it from a moment, it's easier for you to see what you've been so strongly believing, and that it can be changed. It can be detached from or disassociated with through choice, through awareness. So when Neville Goddard talks about revision and we talk about revising past experiences, because maybe they're really painful and we so heavily believe in those experiences. So let's say you're manifesting a specific person and you experienced a breakup and it might be really, really painful. You know, the more intense feelings around an experience are the ones we tend to so strongly believe in. And again, I'm not trying to take away from this or tell you to get over it. I don't mean it like that, right? What I mean is, if you're so heavily attached to that one moment, first of all, what's most important is seeing yourself as that source that manifested the experience. And I don't mean from a place of blame and shame. I'm saying this is actually a way to disassociate yourself from it. When you take the time to think about, all right, how did I even get to that reality? And again, if you are already aware of a version of yourself that had that experience, you don't need to do this. This is for any of you that feel so rigidly attached. And like I said earlier, that the more painful, the more we get so stubborn over, Kim, I had that experience. Yes, I believe you, but it's a reality you don't have to keep clinging to if you no longer want to, or if you're looking at past experiences as the reason you're stuck in a present. Do you see what I'm saying? You believe that your present is because of that past experience, or we'll say the breakup in an SP manifestation. But see, what you're doing in that moment is bringing the focus back to that past experience. And it's your belief in the experience, or in the belief of that is the cause of why you have the present day that you do. We are blinding ourselves and not remembering we are source. We are God. We are the I am. The sooner we disassociate, and again, if we choose to revise, and by revise, we can replace that memory with something else. But when we replace an event, we hop to a new timeline where that past and that future are revised, are different. So I shouldn't even call them revised. They're changed because you changed. You left that old reality. So everything's taken care of. This new version of you is taken care of. This is why I don't heavily focus anymore on my channel on beliefs, as far as like the not good enough belief, not chosen belief. There's nothing wrong with becoming aware that, holy crap, I've been believing this my whole life. And this is where I believe it came from. Nothing really wrong with that. But we don't really have to do it. We can skip that step if we'd like, and just put our focus on the new viewpoint, the new self, the new version of ourself. Because it already exists. That new version of you already exists. That new version of you, if you're putting the focus on the desired reality, that version of you is already equipped with, we'll say, the favorable beliefs. And that version of you, if you allow, if you decide, didn't have the past experience that you believe is the cause of your current present. So therefore that belief never existed. Do you see what I'm saying? You can disassociate from any reality, any experience, any version of yourself at any given moment. It's not something that you technically or logically, literally, from the 3D world, it is not something that you have to work on. It is something that you can decide right here in this one present moment. But it starts with loosening your grip on past experiences and essentially believing that those past experiences, it's their fault that you're living the reality you're living right now. It is only your belief in them, your clutched, very rigid beliefs. But we can loosen that grip. We can loosen the grip on anything from our past, all of the past. And reality will change. Your timeline will change. So for example, I get asked quite often about, revising a breakup and deciding that that breakup never happened. Totally doable. But where people trip themselves up is then they apply logic and linear time to that revision. As in, well, if I'm revising the breakup, okay, I did my revision technique. SP isn't here, we're not back together. No, that's you embodying the version of yourself that still is believing that that breakup occurred. So the focus goes back to the original experience. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're an infinite being that is not experiencing an outside reality. Feels like it. I know it does. It feels very physical. Our past seems very real. But that is only because of our super strong belief in linear time and the original experience. But all of it is really coming through you. A lot of time, even I do it out of habit when we are talking about our consciousness, conscious awareness, higher self, even our own I amness. If you don't believe in God, insert the word you do. We point inward, go inward. I do that out of habit still. Because that was conditioned, right? We were all conditioned to believe. The soul, where's the soul? Most of us were conditioned to believe it's within, right? But there is no within. All of our experience, all of it, even the physical, is coming through us. Through us. A lot of times when we feel like we've been manifesting forever, we feel stuck, think about why you think that. Ask yourself, what are you using as the evidence that you're stuck in a reality you don't want to be in? Or that you still don't have your manifestation yet? Or your SP hasn't manifested, the money hasn't manifested? Why? What are you using as the evidence for yourself to rigidly believe you're in that reality? It will be a logical, literal thing. It will. And it will be attached to a heavily believed in past and in beliefs in of themselves. You really are unattached from all. There are no beliefs, really, that have to be worked on. It's the belief in the beliefs that keeps us tethered to them. Which is why I regularly bring up, just bring your focus, your attention on being that new self or being in that reality. not the person waiting for the physical manifestation. Because you have the access or the viewpoint from that new self, from the self that has the desire or is living with the desire. You have access to that self, to that reality, from that viewpoint. Now, if you would only just allow yourself to use your imagination and go there and drop the logical thinking regarding linear time. So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow.